Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Live coverage of the first round of the PGA Championship rolls on ESPN. Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele 2 shots off the lead at the PGA Championship. Scotty Scheffler is 1 back. Following his opening round 74, Rory McIlroy finds himself 7 off the lead. The Pistons facing a bit of a dilemma with their primary big man ahead of a must-win in Game 6 of their second-round NBA playoff series against the Cavaliers tomorrow. What to do about Jalen Duren? He's had a lackluster postseason so far, was kept off the bench in OT in last night's loss. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
He's asked to do something that he wasn't ready for. He's not ready for this moment. He's asked to be a Robin to Cade Cunningham in a crucial part on the biggest stage in the postseason. He's not that, but he's only 22 years old. He's going to learn and grow from this.
Pistons Cavs Game 6 tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, followed by Spurs up 3-2 at the T-Wolves in Game 6. Baseball, Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh on the injured list with a right oblique strain. First time in his career that he's landed on the IL.
Hey, it's resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy coming up Friday. Anthony Edwards is facing a must-win Game 6. I'll tell you why I'm confident in him getting it done. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kendall Rogers coming up here in 15 minutes from right now. We will talk to Sean Kelley, the voice of the Florida Gators, in hour number 2. Fletcher Mackel from WDSU in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Never born around here, y'all. That's for certain. So it's been a pretty wild week around LSU football. We know the Vanity Fair piece dropped on Monday. Lane Kiffin's comments where he referenced segregation and recruiting against Ole Miss. The firestorm subsequent, Lane Kiffin apologized a day later. And today, there's a piece at USA Today from Blake Topmeyer where he had a sit down with LSU Athletic Director Verge Ausberry, where Verge is defending Lane Kiffin. Not altogether surprising to that end that the athletic director would defend the coach he hired. Maybe a little surprising the manner in which he did it, because Verge chose to defend Lane Kiffin by attacking his predecessor, Brian Kelley. Now, I know how a lot of you perceive me when we talk about Brian Kelley, that I'm a BK defender. I will defend some of Brian Kelley's time and record here because he did a lot of good things. He had 2 10-win seasons. He won an SEC West championship. He had a Heisman winner. He won 71% of his games. He just didn't win enough. And at LSU, the expectation is win championships. It's why you have the resources that you have, is to go win championships. He didn't do it. And so he got fired. It doesn't nullify everything that he did well. So with that preface, we'll let you know what Verge said if you haven't seen it by now. And then I want to react to it because there's some of what Verge said that I think there are half-truths baked in, but it's not unanimous truths. Verge said that there was no connection under Brian Kelley, the football program. Specifically, quote, it's going back to the Saban model. That means running the whole program. then you have to go do some things with alumni and do things with boosters and do things with fundraising with NIL. You have to be a part of that. That's what Lane will do. He'll go out there and have that conversation with the donors and the people who support the program and say, we need your help, and then give them his cell number. Verge goes on. He's not one who will say, okay, I don't want people to contact me. I don't want people to touch me. I don't want people to be around me. That's who we had. That's why we got what we got. There was no feel. There was no connection between the LSU football program, the coach, and the fans. He continued, did Verge. Quote, there was no connection and no building. Not many employees connected. The former players didn't connect. Yeah, I'm saying it. Now former players live over there at the facility. They go over there. We welcome them over there. They work out over there. That's what we want. That's who LSU used to be. Former players came in the weight room. They worked out. There wasn't signing no form to be able to work out, or who are you? You can't work out at this time. Few things. I mentioned that I think there are truths to what Verge is saying there. Similar to the truths in what Lane said in the Vanity Fair piece. I don't doubt that some recruits, parents, or grandparents expressed to Lane Kiffin they don't want their child, grandchild going to Oxford, Mississippi. I don't doubt that happened. I don't think it happened often. I don't think it happened regularly. I think there are overwhelmingly more players whose families were excited to have an SEC offer send their son to Ole Miss to go play for Lane Kiffin than whatever number might have mentioned that to Lane Kiffin. Similarly, with what Verge is saying, yes, I have no doubt. Boosters, former players, current players, employees, administrators who did not like the way Brian Kelley ran the football program. And the truth is, no matter if it's a football program, a media company, a grocery chain, whatever, wherever you work, school, wherever you work, there are people in the organization who like leadership in the organization and don't like leadership in the organization, who like the way things are run and who don't like the way things are run. The part that I would take exception with in how Verge handled this is that he can defend Lane Kiffin without criticizing Brian Kelley. I'm not saying Brian Kelley doesn't warrant criticism. I'm just saying these two things are not mutually exclusive. You can praise Lane Kiffin without criticizing Brian Kelley, because when you have the conversation, like what Verge started here, I can present the other side of it, both ways, about Kiffin and about Kelley. Let's talk about that. Players, okay? Brian Kelley gets fired. Garrett Nussmeier, who was recruited by the former staff, stayed, great Tiger. Nussmeier at the Senior Bowl said this.
I love Coach Kelley. I have a lot of respect for him, and obviously, things didn't work out. I don't think that speaks directly to who Coach Kelley is. I believe he's a very good football coach. Looking forward to whatever situation he takes on next, and definitely rooting for him.
All right. So Garrett Nussmeier strongly defending Brian Kelley. Colin Hurley on Twitter, who had a more tumultuous time at LSU than Hurley, tweeted, "I don't care what anyone has to say about this man. The impact he had on my life is something that can never be taken away from me. He loved me each and every day. He cared for me endlessly through my best days and my worst. I love you, Coach, forever." It's Colin Hurley talking about Brian Kelley. Whit Weeks also put out an Instagram story after Brian Kelley got fired. It was a photo of Brian Kelley and Whit Weeks in the post-game locker room next to each other with their arms around each other. Like, point being, you can find those examples of players who love Brian Kelley. The former player thing that Verge Ausberry talked about there is true. Listen, but that's how it was under Les Miles as well. It was closed off. Ed Ogeron, when he became the interim, was trying to win favor. One of the things he did was immediately open up everything to former players. He instituted the Tiger Walk, where any former player could walk down the hill on game days. Open door policy. Any player could come to practice. Just come on in. No matter what era you played, If you played, come on in. He was trying to win favor, and it worked. Brian Kelly was more regimented, and that's his prerogative as a head coach. It wasn't that you couldn't come in if you were a former player. Just give us a heads up. Let us know if you're coming. Make an appointment, whatever the case may be. And that's his prerogative to run a more structured program. As far as the boosters, there's one in particular. I'm not saying only one, but there's one very prominent LSU booster who stopped giving while Kelley was the head coach. I also know boosters who stopped giving when Orgeron was the coach and when Joe Oliva was the athletic director. And that's not altogether uncommon. I can also point out that a year ago, Brian Kelley put up $1 million of his own money for the $1 million match, and they raised $3.2 million because donors gave to support Brian Kelley's initiative. There's no bigger supporter of LSU athletics financially than Our Lady of the Lake. Full disclosure, they're our partner. I endorse FMOL, Our Lady of the Lake. Here on Locked on LSU, they're a big client and partner of ours. There is no single bigger supporter financially of LSU athletics than Our Lady of the Lake. They give more than Todd Graves. They give more than Holden Spate. They give more than MMR. They give more than everybody, okay? They probably give more than the next 10 combined. The biggest fundraiser that Our Lady of the Lake has every year was last Thursday. It was their big bash. They had it at the LSU indoor facility. It used to be at the Dow Hangar. Prior to that, it was at the governor's mansion. Will Wade sat at a table next to E.J. Kuiper, the president of FMOL. Was there the whole time. Will Wade. Lane Kiffin, I never saw him. Now, he posted a photo later on social with E.J. Kuiper, sort of insinuating that he was there. And as I was later told, he was in and out in less than 10 minutes. A year ago, Brian Kelley, during the live auction, was on stage. One of the premier auction items was an LSU game day experience. Seats in the head coach's or athletic director's suite for the big game, whatever the big game was. Walk down the hill with the team, run out the tunnel, pregame pass, all that. Brian Kelley was on stage, trying to encourage people to bid, and ultimately split the item and did two of them. They raised like $80,000. Like, you can't say that he wasn't engaged. Were there people who didn't like him? Sure. Players, boosters, former players, yes. Are there people who felt the same about Ed Orgeron? Yes. Are there people who feel a certain way about Lane Kiffin right now? Yeah, because that's the reality when you deal in a large organization. My feeling is the focus here for Verge and all of LSU athletics should be more on the reasons why you think Lane Kiffin was the right choice and why you think he is going to succeed here. And by the way, there's a lot of people who agree with that sentiment. The last week, we've let you hear from Kirk Herbstreit and Josh Pate and Pete Futak and Brad Crawford and Chris Doring. And we played all these clips of these people. LSU is an 11.5-point favorite over Clemson. There's a lot of people who believe LSU is going to be really good. Focus on the reasons why it was the right hire at the right time instead of contrasting Kelley and Kiffin, which is just unnecessary. The one thing Verge said here that I do completely agree with, however, is at the end of the piece, talked about Lane Kiffin being a lightning rod and people talking about him all the time. And Verge's quote is, every day you talk about us, guess what? That's good for LSU. If they're not talking about you, guess what? That's when you got problems. That's when you got apathy. That's when nobody gives an expletive. When nobody cares, when you're getting your behind beat by A&M by 40, when nobody's watching you. I'd rather be on the opposite side, end quote. And that I completely agree with. And you can talk about Kiffin and LSU football and all those things without digging up and throwing dirt and speaking ill of the dead. This will make the rounds. no doubt today and until something else pivots. All right, you can let me know your thoughts on it if you want. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. It's After Further Review. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Baseball series against Florida opens up tonight out at the box. If you're going to be out at Alex Box Stadium for the final time in 2026, make sure you got plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. All right, it's After Further Review. Speaking of baseball, Kendall Rogers is here next. Stick around.
AFR.
Remember, over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, if you're military or first responder, they always waive a consult fee. It's always a free consultation over there at Goodwood for our first responders and for our military. You have to have a valid ID, but another way that at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, they continue to give back. Another reason why it's just a better experience. I mentioned it before, but if you are already on hormone replacement therapy, regardless if you have ED or not, if you're on HRT, I always encourage you at least engage and learn more, because what you're gonna learn is it's time to switch. Whatever, like there's some clinics, some HRT clinics that charge you a membership fee. That's ridiculous. At Goodwood, there's no membership fee. It's always gonna be the lowest prices for your hormone therapy. Never any contracts. And when you do your blood labs every 6 months, Goodwood picks up that expense. So if you're paying for your blood labs, $200 every quarter, every 6 months, you can wipe that expense away. YourGoodwood.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know hard work starts with the right equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025 e-tractor with loader for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, this is the tractor built to get it done. Don't wait. This offer ends April 30th, 2026. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last, because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Yeah, it's a little different. on this one, and we just have to be mindful. I think, I want the team to stay in the moment, execute what's in front of you, the pitch, the game, state of mind. It's my job to, kind of set us up for things that are ahead. And, in this case, that's what I'm doing, and that's what I have to do.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, good enough to join us as he does each Thursday. How are you, dude?
I'm doing all right. It feels a little weird to be talking about LSU baseball on May 14th, and we're not talking about, hey, can this team win the national title?
Yeah. Is there any path at all for LSU to earn an at-large bid?
Outside of winning the conference tournament, not really.
Yeah, so that's not an at-large.
Maybe,
that would be the auto bid. You win the tournament, you're in.
Yeah, that would be
an
the auto
at-large.
bid. If they to get an at-large, they would have to sweep this weekend, probably get to Sunday to have a chance.
Do you think that, I'm not even sure that would do it. Would that do it, conceivably?
Yeah, that would give you, 16 conference wins or 16 SEC wins? Yeah, you'd probably be in.
Okay.
That's all you have to do is sweep this weekend
right.
and win 3 games in Hoover.
So
6 games in a row.
Right. I know. The interesting thing about what Jay's doing here is that he's left Friday TBA, which means I'm guessing here, reading between the lines, that he's saving Schmidt for Tuesday. They got to go on a run in Hoover. He knows it. So, what do you think of the decision?
It's probably the only chance you have, and I know that's kind of what they're doing. They're basically putting themselves in a situation where it's going to be really hard to win the Florida series, but it puts them in the best possible position to make a run to the SEC tournament. And here's the thing. I made this comment to somebody the other day. They're like, it would not be the first time that LSU has made a run through Hoover. No matter, what kind of season they had, it's still going to be a very LSU-heavy crowd, I would imagine. I can't imagine these people that go every single year all of a sudden going to go, well, I'm not going to go this year.
Right.
They will be there. So I think the big key for me is, number one, I like the idea. Number two, is for LSU, you can kind of kick things off next week with Schmidt. And let's say you can kind of get on the roll a little bit. Then all of a sudden, you kind of have the crowd behind you. People are kind of feeling it a little bit. So it really is the best possible pathway to be able to get to the NCAA tournament. It's not this weekend. It's doing something in Hoover.
How do the Tigers match up against Florida?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is, once again, which Florida team will show up. I do think Florida has played better, since that A&M series. It certainly seems like they're a little bit more balanced since that series. I think one of the big keys this weekend will certainly be, Brendan Lawson. Can he kind of get going offensively for Florida? Ultimately, Florida, when they've struggled this year, it's been when teams have kind of hopped on them early. When that happens, they're not. I don't feel like they're great at kind of clawing their way back. Whereas I do feel like teams have been able to claw their way back against Florida. So I think for LSU, even with holding some arms, you got to find a way to jump on them early. Which I don't think LSU's offense, for the most part, the last couple of weeks has been the primary issue. It has not been the offense.
That is fair to say. When it hasn't been one thing, it's been another. But Tigers and Gators this weekend. Have you? I'm sure you've given some thought to this. Why you go back to Mississippi State in 21 post-COVID? Why have the defending champs struggled?
Well, I think it's a lot. I think in college baseball, one thing that's kind of synonymous with a national champion is, you have a massive crop of key players. And I think for LSU, I think the issue, and frankly, it's probably the same way with other teams too. You think back to that Mississippi State team that had Tanner Allen. That was such a key component of that team that they kind of built that whole lineup around. And I think for LSU, what they really struggled with this year, and it's, Jake Brown going down was like compounding that. But if you think back to last year, and you think back to the way guys gravitated around like a Jared Jones, like, hey, if things are going really bad, guess who's not going to be really bad? It's that dude. And so I just think LSU this year, and you think back to Tanner Allen with Mississippi State, you think back to Ole Miss with Tim Elko. And those guys, the list kind of goes on. And when you don't have that key kind of component in the middle of the lineup, or that key component on the pitching staff, when things are going south, there's not that guy to kind of rally around them. I don't feel like LSU and Mississippi State that year after they won it they did not, neither one of those teams had a guy that you were like, hey, the team is rallying around this dude. That just hasn't happened. I think there's something to that. I think the other thing is, naturally, whether it's football or baseball or basketball, when you have an older team or you have some guys, guys in key spots like last year with Cade and Ianson, in that 1 and 2 spot, it helps to have upperclassmen with experience who are, by the way, elite arms on the front of that rotation. So I think that's the other thing is, when you win the national title, you're doing it probably because you have guys who are going to get drafted pretty high.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Get him at Kendall Rogers. Georgia's already won the league. So what are the storylines going into this weekend, Kendall? Who has the most at stake?
Yeah, I think the most at stake would probably be the A&M and Mississippi State series. I mean, you talk about two teams that can go different directions. I mean, Mississippi State, the variables there with Mississippi State are kind of wild. I mean, if they win this series, they're still in the mix for top 8. They lose the series, and Ole Miss wins that Alabama series, they could easily be out of a top 16. So I think for Mississippi State, it makes that weekend big. I think for A&M, if they win that series, I think they're locked in the top 8. If they lose that series, they're probably more in the 12 to 14 range in the top 16. So, it's the difference between being at Bluebell for 2 weeks and being on the road for the second weekend. So that is obviously big. I think Ole Miss and Alabama, for kind of the same reasons with A&M and Mississippi State, Alabama was the top 8 this week. I don't think they're that good, but I mean, the metrics love them. But they were top 8 for us this week. Ole Miss was out of the hosting mix. So again, Ole Miss wins that series. Alabama loses that series. Alabama's probably out of the top 8. Ole Miss probably in as the top 16. And then, of course, Arkansas, Kentucky. Arkansas, if they win that series, I mean, I think they're back in the hosting discussion. I would still have them behind Ole Miss just because Ole Miss has played the number 1 strength of schedule intra-conference. But it would put them back in the discussion. And, of course, Kentucky, if they lose that series, I mean, that would be losing 7 out of the last 8 series in conference to end the regular season. I think even with 13 wins, you're not getting in with that.
Okay. What about Vanderbilt against South Carolina? I mean, they're trying to get in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're done. I mean, even with that RPI, I mean, if they swept that series even at 14 to 16, I still don't think they're getting there. Wow. I mean, the problem with Vanderbilt is kind of twofold. I mean, they've struggled in conference, and if you go back to their non-conference weekends, Vanderbilt did not have a single winning weekend in non-conference, and as an SEC team, not going to happen if your RPI is not even close.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Have you taken a look? I haven't prepped you for this. Have you taken a look at the SEC tournament bracket and how it'll sort of shape up next week?
I have not, actually. I'm trying to go one day at a time. But
yeah, no worries. It's okay.
It will be interesting to see how things kind of match up. And here's the other thing. I mean, I was kind of having this discussion with Jay the other day, is when you look at the SEC tournament, one thing I think is a advantage for a team like LSU is if you can just get to the non-bye game. So if you can just get to the 1, 2, 3, 4 game, you're playing teams that are more than likely top 8. And so, if you're playing Texas, Dylan Blanton is on a pitch count. If you're A&M and Aiden Sims is out this weekend already, but you already think you're top 8, they're not going to pitch it against LSU. And the same kind of goes to those other teams. They're not going to throw their ace 90 pitches in a tournament game. So I think it'll be really interesting to me to see who LSU is matched up in that potential non-bye game. I think the matchups are really going to matter there if they can get to that point.
Yeah, getting to that point is going to be interesting. Assuming they stick as the 14 seed, right, staying ahead of South Carolina and Missouri, they would play the 11. So I more so just wondering if you'd given it. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the team can't go on a run at Hoover. I'm not going to say the team's definitely in the postseason or anything, but I mean, there's got to be something in this club. And I mean, if you're LSU and you go to Hoover and it's either win it or get to Sunday or you're going home, I mean, I would expect them to play well.
Yeah. As it stands right now, if LSU is in that 14-11 game on Tuesday, it would be LSU against Tennessee, very likely with Schmidt going. But got to get through this weekend first. Hey, before you go, outside of the league, what are the other big storylines people are keeping an eye on? What weekend series?
Yeah, I think, in terms of the hosting discussion, Boston College hosting Georgia Tech. It's not every day. We talk about BC as a potential host, but if they win that series, they're right there in the mix. I think in the Big 12, TCU against West Virginia, Big 12 being a bubble team, West Virginia really surging right now. I mean, they could end up as a top 8. And then, out of the Sun Belt, keep an eye on Coastal Carolina and against the Raging Cajuns over there in Lafayette. The Cajuns have been sizzling hot over the last couple of weekends, kind of finally putting things together. They're right there in the bubble. And then Coastal Carolina, I mean, they went from a top 8 seed potential to out of our top 16 after losing that series to Old Dominion at home. That is a massive series for both clubs. For Coastal, it's the host. For the Cajuns, it's just to get into the tournament.
Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball.com, D1Baseball.com. Get him at Kendall Rogers. Okay, man, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it, brother. You all have a good weekend.
All right,
Appreciate
be well,
it.
of
Bye.
course. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Right now, the 4-day sale is going on over at Rouse's Thursday through Sunday, so it's going on right now where you can save big. How about bone-in value pack pork sirloin chops right now? Limit 2, they're only 98 cents per pound. Y'all, USDA Grade A Sanderson Farms value pack chicken wings, only $1.47 a pound right now. You want to go stock your freezer, you want to load up on your grocery items, the 4-day sale is going on right now at Rouse's Thursday through Sunday. So get on by, get your grocery shopping done at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. All right, we appreciate Kendall for hanging out with us here. We are tracking NFL schedule leaks. The full schedule reveal is tonight at 7 o'clock. So we'll know officially what the Saints schedule will be. We do have a leaks tracker up at LouisianaSports.net right on the homepage if you want to go check that out. We'll run through some of the leaks at the top of hour 2 in about 30 minutes. What we do know, the week 1 schedules have been leaked, and the Saints are going to open the season at Detroit against the Lions. So that's the one. And, of course, we already know they're going to play week 7 in Paris against the Steelers. So some of those things are starting to leak. We got a handful of them already. You can see it for free over at LouisianaSports.net. We'll run through it again here in about a half an hour. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
If you're dreaming about that pool, you need Duplessis Pools. DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com. Get to the website. Pools, outdoor kitchens, putting greens. They can turn your outdoor space into your outdoor oasis, your backyard paradise, the place where you want to spend every spring and summer day, where your family and your friends want to come over to hang out poolside at the outdoor kitchen. They can make it a reality. And by the way, they have pool builds that start at less than $50,000 and financing is available. You can do this at Duplessis Pools. They'll build you a beautiful pool that will last. Now, you want the big custom resort style pool, giant, all the bells and whistles, they can do anything you want. And they'll build it beautifully and with a 10-year workmanship warranty. That's no matter what they build. It's time to start. Get to the website and start making your dream a reality. DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
If your office is experiencing performance issues, like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
It's interesting how the lights in studio reflect off this shirt. So we're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, and their logo is kind of like pink, mauve.
I was going to say pink, yeah.
It's pink, but it's not.
It's a light pink.
It's a dull pink.
Dull, that's a better word for it, yes.
Dull pink. But the shirt I'm wearing, you can see it like in person. It's red.
Yeah.
My shirt is red. Like red. So it's a red and white checkered pattern, right?
Right,
so it's white, but like if you look at the red is red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You look at it it looks pink.
It does look pink because when you said that, I looked at you and I'm like, well, your shirt's fine. But then I looked at the screen. I'm like, nah, I get it. Now I see what he means now. Yep.
It looks pink. It's probably all these pink lights in here. But shout out Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Actually, a buddy of mine called me about a week ago and said, hey, my wife's grandmother is elderly. She really needs an IV. They're trying to keep her out of the hospital. She's in her upper 80s. Like, does Decision Critical, will they come and do IVs? I said, absolutely. I gave him Blasia, the owner, I gave him Blasia's number. They texted that not like at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and they set up one of the nurses to go administer an IV. If it's something as simple as that, or blood draws, or maybe you need in-home nursing care for hospice, or maybe you got a new baby at the house and you're just not sleeping, man. Get a nurse from Decision Critical to come watch the baby overnight so you all can be fresh, even if it's one day a week, something like that. No matter what it is, as they always say, it's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. But don't let BR fool you. If you're watching or listening outside of Baton Rouge, their nurses are literally in every corner, anywhere in the state of Louisiana, and they now have a Dallas office as well. DecisionCriticalBR.com. All right, it's after further review. Lane Kiffin's comments earlier this week have certainly been a lightning rod, gotten a lot of attention. Paul Feinbaum was on Get Up here on Thursday, and he's weighing in on Kiffin as well.
It's Lane Kiffin, and the most important thing to factor in here, this wasn't a slip of the tongue. I talked to the writer who did the Vanity Fair piece the other day. He said he didn't even ask Kiffin about the racism aspect of it. Kiffin just started riffing, and this is Kiffin trying to wipe Ole Miss off the face of the earth. He is still very bitter at them, even though they're the jilted lover. He's bitter at them, Greeny, because they wouldn't let him coach in the playoffs. And he has to recruit against them, and he also has to play against them on September 19th, a game that will gain a little bit of attention.
I think there's some truth to that. I don't know about the bitterness because they wouldn't let him coach. I do think Lane Kiffin, one of the things we've talked about a lot, now I've covered Lane Kiffin for 6 months, but something you've heard me say is that he is very thoughtful. And I don't mean thoughtful like considerate of the feelings of others. I mean thoughtful in that he thinks a lot about what he says, what the impact is going to be, how it's going to land. I mean, he was asked a question. I remember it was Garland Gillen who asked him the question at a press conference about the $40 million roster. And Lane went on like a 2.5-minute tangent talking about strength of schedule. Had nothing to do with the question that was asked. Whatever Lane wants, the message he wants to get across, he's going to get across. I do believe he intended to say that with the intention of making the swipe at Ole Miss. The question is why, and maybe there's some dirty recruiting going on behind the scenes from both sides, and maybe that was Lane shot across the bow, sort of in a retaliatory way. Interesting. No love lost there, obviously. All right, it's after further review. We are glad to have you aboard with us. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. It's a great time right now to call Relief Windows. Remember, when they come out, they're always going to measure twice, install once. Maybe you live in a neighborhood that requires wood windows, and as a result, you're replacing windows every 4, 6, 8 years, whatever it may be. Do it once, be done forever. At Relief Windows, they have these energy-efficient replacement windows, these wood windows that are from composite that come with a lifetime warranty. That's not a punchline. It's a lifetime warranty on wood windows, only from Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Archie Manning, by the way, arguably the most famous Ole Miss football alum, did respond to Lane Kiffin, and he said, this was an interview with Chris Love on 3. Archie said, quote, "I'm very proud of my school. My school had to make changes years ago and did. I know so many people who send their kids to Ole Miss and have a great experience. It's my school and always will be." Of course, not only Archie, but Cooper and Eli, all Ole Miss grads. So interesting that Steve Sarkisian, the Texas coach, took a swipe at Ole Miss, and his quarterback, Arch Manning, that's his dad, uncle, and grandfather, who all went to Ole Miss. Maybe tough to have that conversation for the two of them afterwards. In any event. All right, it's after further review. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Safety Jamarlee Riddle has been arrested on a pair of felony charges, possession of a controlled substance, and this one's going to shock you, misdemeanor speeding charges. It's on brand. It's on brand. It's on brand. Ding. Riddle transferred to Georgia after playing his first 2 seasons at East Carolina. 2 seasons with the Pirates, had 133 tackles. So good player. A little legal trouble in front of him.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
VCU transfer Christian Furman has committed to Tennessee basketball. 6'10", 225-pounder. Played in 4 games for the Rams this past year due to a personal matter, but played in 86 games over the prior 3 seasons. Shot 54% from the floor. He's the 8th addition to the Vols transfer class.
The Texas Longhorns.
Swingman Dalen Swain will remain in the NBA draft. The junior was contemplating returning to Texas, but ultimately, after an impressive first season with the Horns, where he earned SEC Newcomer of the Year honors, leading Texas in scoring at 17 points per game, also led Texas in rebounding, assists, steals, and minutes played. A junior began his career at Xavier, but he will remain now in the draft.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas has reinstated the men's and women's tennis programs. Hunter Yurchek announced that the programs would be shuttered at season's end. That was back on April the 24th. Well, now here on Thursday, Yurchek said the move to discontinue the programs was after an extensive financial analysis, but now with multiple stakeholders and an influx of donations, they have reversed course and will reinstate both programs.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And how about this for a creative NIL deal? Nate Bargatze, yes, that Nate Bargatze, landed Vanderbilt quarterback Jared Curtis a movie role as part of an NIL deal. So Curtis was a 5-star plus quarterback who flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt. I mean, only in 2026 in this era could that ever happen. But Bargatze made a pitch to Curtis live on College Game Day last season, if you remember that. And since then, he's put Curtis into a movie as part of his NIL deal. So the movie is called The Breadwinner, and we'll see what Curtis's small part will be. He was the number 2 quarterback in the class of 2026. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. It's not just healthcare. Healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. All right, y'all, let's knock out our final break of hour number one. We'll come back. We will get to, after the top of the hour, in about 16 minutes, the NFL schedule leaks. There's a handful of Saints games that have already been leaked. So we'll go through that and what I think it matters. Some significant things there. We also have the early line on Saints-Lions in week one. We'll get to that again in about 15 minutes from right now. One of the personnel decisions we're keeping a close eye on is what happens with Cam Jordan. Well, the idea of Cam Jordan leaving New Orleans and landing somewhere else in the NFC South, let's just go ahead and say that will not happen, according to Cam Jordan's Twitter. We'll get into that as we continue on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Voted by you the best hotel in the best of 225. It is a gorgeous luxury property, Watermark Baton Rouge. And I'm going to tell you, whether you're looking for somewhere to maybe a little staycation in town, pop on in, get your room at Watermark Baton Rouge, eat at the Gregory. You can walk up and down 3rd Street with the restaurants and bars, see all the history that downtown Baton Rouge has to offer, state capital, old state capital, the USS Kid, everything, the casinos downtown. Great, great spot downtown. You can go stay there conveniently at the corner of 3rd and Convention at Watermark Baton Rouge. Or maybe you have an event coming up. Maybe you got a board meeting you want to host. The old bank vaults down underneath the hotel, when you take that big marble staircase, they've hollowed out those bank vaults and they've turned them into conference rooms for private dining and different meeting rooms. You got to check it out. Downtown, Watermark, Baton Rouge.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Faber Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FaberChevrolet.com.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
think it's a safe assumption that if Cam Jordan is not back with the New Orleans Saints, he is not going to land in the NFC South. Someone on Twitter said, I will laugh my behind off if the Falcons sign him, as a quote tweet to Cam Jordan. And Cam Jordan replied to that tweet with a gif of Jim Carrey in Liar Liar when he's all disheveled after, beating himself up in the bathroom, and he's doing the gag throw up motion. I think it's a pretty good if that wasn't enough to convince you that Cam Jordan is not going to end up with the Atlanta Falcons, he did clarify in another tweet after somebody else essentially alluded to the same thing, and Cam Jordan said, exactly, Dirty Birds, ? Not on this generation of Jordan's watch. So, safe to say Cam Jordan, if he is not back with the New Orleans Saints, will not be in the NFC South, certainly not with the Atlanta Falcons. Remains one of the really interesting storylines and topics that we will discuss throughout the remainder of this offseason is what happens with Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara. If you were not here a day ago, we had former Saint Scott Shanley, who, of course, played with the Saints and now is an analyst for the Saints on their game day content. And Shanley's opinion was that neither Cam or Alvin Kamara will be back. And it was interesting that his feeling was that of the two, the more likely to be back would be Cam. And that's interesting because Alvin is still under contract. But the Saints, use that cockamamie restructure. I shouldn't say cockamamie, but one of the very seldom used restructure technique. And I think it stands to reason they wouldn't have gone to that length to restructure Alvin Kamara's contract that provides them the out if they didn't intend to use the out. Cam is an unrestricted free agent. I mean, he's free to sign with anybody, whomever he wants. And he has said repeatedly the Cents, C-E-N-T-S, have to make sense, S-E-N-S-E. And it's just abundantly clear the Saints are not willing to give him what it is that he wants. So they're at an impasse. Now, Mickey Loomis, when he was asked about Cam Jordan being back, I think this was an interview on Sirius XM, said this.
Yeah, listen, we've had good conversations with Cam, and we'll continue to have that, and hopefully he's back with us for, I don't know, what is it, the 200th year of his career here. No, I mean, Cam has meant so much to our franchise, and he's had just a great career, and I'd be really excited if the Saints were the only team that he ever played for. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Well, it's very clear that they are at an impasse where Cam wants something the Saints are not willing to provide. I think it's, and I'll repeat it again, and Shanley had a really good opinion on this a day ago. If you missed that interview, Scott's always fantastic. I would highly recommend you go check that out on demand, podcast or YouTube. If you just search AFR Saints on podcast or YouTube, you'll find it there. But I think the most interesting part of that was Shanley saying, it's just clear that the new coaching staff is weeding out all of the Peyton and Dennis Allen era guys. And that's Demario Davis, and we all assume now that Taysom Hill has played his last game in New Orleans. Cam and Alvin are still sort of lingering there. They're bringing in their guys, and it's a new day, a new culture, and they're getting younger. And you have aging veterans that want a lot of money they're not willing to pay. And the point I have made and will continue to make is if you were not willing to pay Demario Davis, there is no way they're going to be willing to pay a multi-year guaranteed deal to Cam Jordan or Alvin Kamara. It's just Demario was still producing. The last 2 years were the most productive years of his career. And if you're not willing to pay that guy on a multi-year deal with guarantees, then it just doesn't make sense that you would do it for Alvin or Cam Jordan, who have been declining players. And I know Cam had 10.5 sacks last year, something that's been brought up a lot. He's also playing about 50% of your defensive snaps, and he had been declining for 3 years before last season. So it stands to reason last year was the exception, not the rule. That was the outlier. It's more likely he reverts to what he had been as a regressing player. Listen, he's one of the greatest players in the history of the Saints organization. I believe he will be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He will be in the Saints Ring of Honor, and all of that is so warranted. But you don't offer contracts based on what happened you offer based on what you're projecting them to do. And it's hard to value that with Cam Jordan. All right, it's after further review. We're brought by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Remember, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. You want to schedule your annual eye exam, you can do it at the Williamson Eye Center. They got locations all over Greater Baton Rouge, so go to WilliamsonEye.com. If you are interested in updating or filling your glasses or contacts prescription, they can do that for you at the Williamson Eye Center. But if you want to get rid of those contacts or glasses forever, just have that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. Go through those steps and realize how you can change your life by ditching the contacts and glasses forever. It's the Williamson Eye Center. WilliamsonEye.com. Williamson, EYE.com. Okay, y'all. SportsCenter's coming up. Saints schedule leaks right after the top of the hour.
After further review.
Love telling you about Arco Power Systems. Man, what a great Louisiana business that actually serves a multi-state territory. Arco Power Systems, based right here in Baton Rouge. Man, their office, awesome facility right there on Airline near I-12. But they serve all of Louisiana, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio, north to Little Rock. I mean, draw a big circle. If your business is anywhere in that footprint, I know so many of you listen or watch online. You stream us, you watch on YouTube, you listen on demand on the app. You're outside of our footprint. Maybe you're on, you listen to us in Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and any of our great affiliates. If you're outside of Baton Rouge, great. Call Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. They will sell, service, install, rent an industrial Generac generator. So storm comes, power out at your business, you never have to worry. Arco.com, ARCCO, arco.com.
Championships are won with preparation, and so are great roofs.
Coach is tough on us about preparation, and Parrish brings that same championship mindset. Do business with someone you know.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
ParrishBuilt.com.
It's not easy to be a champion.
It's built from every swing, pitch, and game all season long. In the grind, the focus,
and in the recovery.
FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake experts provide best-in-class care for our state's world-class athletes. Because it takes a champion to care for champions.
I trust the lake to keep me at my best.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead,
They cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Live first-round coverage of the 108th PGA Championship continues on ESPN. Justin Thomas, Martin Keimer among those tied at the top of the leaderboard at 3 under. Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka are 2 back. Rory McIlroy 7 off the lead after his opening round 74. Giants receiver Malik Neighbors underwent a second procedure on his right knee this offseason, considered a cleanup procedure after he tore his ACL in September. ESPN NFL reporter Jeremy Fowler.
Not a cause of major concern, but it's never a good sign when you have multiple surgeries on a star receiver like this that you're hoping can play week 1. Now, meanwhile, did they sign another receiver? They've talked to Odell Beckham, an old friend. He's probably a little rusty, hasn't played in a while, but he's very familiar with those New York Football Giants, so they could add a receiver at some point.
NHL Golden Knights can advance to the West Final in a matchup with the Avalanche with a victory over the Ducks tonight in Game 6 of that second-round playoff series. The Canucks named assistant GM Ryan Johnson their new general manager. Daniel and Henrik Sedin, who spent their entire NHL playing career in Vancouver, were named co-presidents of hockey operations.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, Anthony Edwards is facing a must-win Game 6. I'll tell you why I'm confident in him getting it done. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Kelley, the voice of the Gators, will be here in 30 minutes from right now. Preview the LSU Florida weekend series. What's at stake for the Gators? How they playing? It's been a real Jekyll and Hyde season for Kevin O'Sullivan's squad. This is one that, when you looked at the schedule before the season, you circled LSU Florida rematch of the National Championship Series from 2017 and 2023 and thought, well, that's going to be a really significant series in the final weekend of the regular season, and it most certainly is not at all. But at least not in the context of the postseason for LSU. So we'll talk about it with Sean Kelley coming up in 30 minutes from right now. Fletcher Mackel will be here in hour 3. We'll see if we have any other schedule release leaks as of that point. If you haven't been paying attention as of now, there are a handful of leaks that have made their way onto the interwebs. And remember, the official schedule release is tonight at 7 o'clock Central, here on Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central. So we will know when these things are official at that point. As of right now, it is not official until the schedule release comes out. But at LouisianaSports.net, if you go to the homepage, we have the schedule leak tracker up. So if you want a sort of consolidated place where all of the schedule leaks are being tracked, it's right there at the top of our homepage, free at LouisianaSports.net. Never any paywalls or anything like that. Let's run through very quickly what has been leaked so far. Well, the one that is official from the NFL is Saints Steelers Week 7. That's Sunday, October 25th in Paris. It's the one that we knew that yesterday. We knew the Saints were going to play in Paris. A day ago, they announced Saints Steelers on October 25th. So that we know. Week 1, the Saints are reportedly opening against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Nick Underhill was the first to have that earlier today. There was another report that the Saints are expected to open Week 2 at the Baltimore Ravens. So no rest for the weary. At Detroit, at Baltimore, first 2 weeks. At least that's what's being reported right now. Week 3, the Saints come home against the Raiders. Now, that's going to be an interesting one, obviously, because of the Fernando Mendoza, a rookie quarterback component. However, that could very well be Kirk Cousins starting if they don't want to throw Mendoza into the deep end from jump. So there's a chance you're playing a guy that was starting against you for the Falcons in Week 18 a year ago, or maybe it's Fernando Mendoza in Week 3. So at Lions, at Ravens, home opener Week 3 against the Raiders. We do not yet know the Week 4 opponent. Week 5 at home against the Minnesota Vikings. And then you're at New York, the Giants, Week 6. That's relevant because Week 7 is the game against Pittsburgh in Paris. Remember, one thing that we had heard reported a day ago was that the Saints were interested in having a Thursday night game Week 6. So that way they'd play Thursday before heading to Paris. That would give you effectively an extra 3 days to prepare and get overseas, jet lag, all that sort of stuff, get acclimated to play that Week 7 game against Pittsburgh in Paris. So the Saints are not going to get that Thursday game, at least it appears so, with a noon Central kickoff. But remember, what that does is it puts New Orleans closer to Paris, right? You can play the Giants in New York and then go straight from New York to Paris. So instead of coming back home and then flying to Paris, you would effectively, I would assume that's what they'll do, is they'll just go straight from their game against the Giants overseas to Paris. So then Week 7 against Pittsburgh, we do not yet have any reports for Weeks 8 or 9. The other games that have been leaked so far, Panthers Week 10, so there's a divisional game. At the Bears, Week 11. So you're talking about November the 22nd. So that's a late November game on the road in Chicago, followed by a game in Week 12 at the Bengals. So you go at Chicago, at Cincinnati in late November. Those have the potential to be weather games. It's one of the things that we always kind of keep an eye on is, where are the late, you're a dome team from the South. Going to Chicago or Cincinnati later in the season, there's always the possibility that you're going to have bad weather. It's better playing it in late November than in late December, but still the possibility of that being bad weather. Week 14 at Carolina is another one that's out there, and then Week 16 at home against Arizona. So those are the leaks that we have right now that have been reported. We're still waiting on roughly half the schedule, the preseason games, all that stuff. But let's see, that's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. So 11 of the 17 games have been leaked. And what we don't see here yet is a primetime game. And we are assuming that the Saints will be in primetime. Nick Underhill over at New Orleans on Football reported that earlier today. The Saints are expected to land a few primetime dates on this schedule. So that'll be interesting. And then obviously you're looking at how your schedule is going to finish there. Usually it's with divisional games. We do not see any of the games against Tampa or the Falcons leak, just the 2 games against Carolina. Week 10 at home against the Panthers, and then Week 14 at Carolina, December the 13th. That certainly has the potential to be a weather game in Charlotte as well. Not frigid, but could be cold in Charlotte in December. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. Check them out. Graduation is upon us. A lot of graduates, a lot of young people will be crossing the stage tomorrow and this weekend. If you're thinking of buying a vehicle for that graduate, the high school graduate going off to college, or the college graduate starting, the next phase of life, how about you pop on into South Point Volkswagen? Because it has everything you want. You're going to be able to find an affordable vehicle that is safe with the great German engineering at a great price, manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. But it's going to be a vehicle that looks great and is fun to drive that they're going to love. So get the best of both worlds. Go see my friends at South Point Volkswagen. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? While the games are not official yet, so the sports books do not have the the U.S. sports books do not yet have lines that are open to be wagered upon for any of these games. Because the entire week one slate has been leaked, Bet Online, which is an offshore book, they have listed spreads for the entire week one slate. And the Saints at the Lions week one, they have the Saints as a 6.5-point underdog at Detroit in week one. So a really challenging start to the season for New Orleans, going on the road to Detroit week one, and then the other leak, week two, is at Baltimore. We could do all the things when you look at the percentages of teams that start 0-2 and how many make the playoffs, how you bounce back, whatever. But the counter to that is, remember a couple of years ago, 2 years ago when the Saints beat Carolina and Dallas, blew the doors off of them the first 2 weeks, and then just absolutely face-planted. DA didn't make it through the season. So tough start for New Orleans. The opener, by the way, is going to be on Wednesday, not Thursday. The NFL opener is going to be Wednesday with the Patriots at the Seahawks. So that's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl. Pats at Seahawks. Seahawks 4-point favorite on Wednesday, September the 9th. Thursday, Niners at Rams. We know that's the game in Melbourne, Australia. And then the full slate Sunday. So again, all those week one lines are up at louisianasports.net as well if you want to check them out. Always free over at louisianasports.net. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, decisioncriticalbr.com. Sean Kelley, voice of the Gators, in 19 minutes, right at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, 2 more Power 4 leagues have endorsed a 2014 college football playoff, while the Four-Letter Network has said, let's stay at 12. We'll fill in the blanks on this tug of war and what it all means. It's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Remember, it's not too late to call River City's 1 Hour Air and get your preseason AC tune-up. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. Get that preseason AC tune-up. Make sure that thing is running efficiently and effectively for all the coming warm weather. Susan sent this 5-star Google review. We were very happy with our service provided by Sammy. He was thorough, efficient, and professional. We are longtime customers, and we feel secure knowing we can count on River City's 1 Hour Air. Susan, I feel the same way. Eric and I have used River City's 1 Hour Air since we got married. We've had to replace a couple of HVAC units. River City's 1 Hour Air did an awesome job. We extended the life of those units because we did the seasonal maintenance. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders. We're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Better coverage for less money. Been telling you that for years when it comes to Insurance Network of Louisiana. It's true for your business. So I'm really talking to you business owners out there. We all look at the bottom line. You're always looking at where can I be more efficient in my budget, my P&L? Like, where am I spending more than I need to? Maybe look at your insurance. Better yet, let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop. No matter what type of business that you have, you got insurance, well, you could be overpaying. Insurance Network of Louisiana uses top-rated carriers. They have great relationships to get you better coverage for less money. Tons of restaurants, by the way. They crush it for restaurants. If you're in restaurant food service, you really need to call Insurance Network of Louisiana. Let them shop to see if they can find you better coverage for your business for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
We're getting close to some finality with this college football playoff expansion conversation. We know for 2026, they're staying at 12. You needed unanimous approval to expand the playoff. You didn't get it because the Big Ten and the SEC couldn't agree. Tony Petitti wanted 24. Greg Sankey wanted 16. They were at an impasse, so they stayed at 12. But a decision about the long-term future of this playoff has got to be made. It's got to be made soon. It's all coming to a head. And lines are being drawn in the sand. Most recently, the ACC and the Big 12 have joined the Big Ten in their desire for a 24-team college football playoff. That means 3 of the Power 4 leagues are standing in opposition to Greg Sankey and his desire to go to 16. Jim Phillips on the ACC network explained why the ACC is supporting a 24-team playoff.
At the end of the day, we have a playoff. It's grown from 2 to 4 to 12, but we still have a playoff that does not provide access to all of those that a lot of us feel could genuinely win a national championship. We suffered a few years ago when it was at 4 and Florida State was left out as the only undefeated team. Last year, there was a lot of talk about the Miami-Notre Dame piece and Miami being the last team in, and you saw how good they were to play in the national championship. So I'd like to get that number to 24. It makes the most sense.
You can certainly make the argument that Jim Phillips did about competitive balance and access for those teams. The truth here, as we've explained, the impetus for this conversation is money. And it's not greed. It's not just, let's go get fistfuls of cash so everybody can get richer. It's what we've talked about here for months and months and months, actually for a year since revenue share went into play. Every single athletic department added a every athletic department that competes at the highest level added a $20 million line item to their budget. They all now have to pay the players out of their revenue. So how do you do that? Cut expenses or generate new revenue. And it's a combination of both. You can tighten the belt, but you're not trimming $20 million of expenses out of your budget. You can do some. What's the easiest way to generate new revenue? Yes, you can do jersey patches and field logos, and you've seen the Big 12 just announced a private equity deal. Roughly, I think 13 teams have opted out of the private equity deal, but there's lots of different ways. The most obvious way is TV. And the college football playoff is a $1 billion annual deal. If you go from 12 to 24, you're doubling the amount of teams. And adding that inventory, you are effectively doubling, or I don't know if it'll double dollar for dollar, but that is the cleanest and easiest way to grow revenue is to grow that TV contract by giving them more inventory. Why did the SEC go to 9 league games without an expanded playoff? Money. Now you've given ESPN another week's worth of SEC football games. they're going to, in good faith, renegotiate that deal to give the SEC more money for that extra week of SEC football games. Well, while the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12 all want 24, Greg Sankey is holding firm at 16. And Greg, we have this. This was Sankey talking about 16.
Where's your position going 16 or 24 or staying at 12?
I indicated that previously.
You have.
So we can go back in the archives and find it, yeah?
Yeah.
Why would I come out here and give a position? I say that in the spirit of friendliness. I mean, other people can do that if they choose. There's plenty of anonymous sources, but I'll, as I have done repeatedly, reserve my comments for the places where it's a benefit.
That was Greg Sankey speaking with Ross Dellinger of Yahoo about a week ago, maybe a little more than a week ago, sounding very defensive and reserving comment because he is on an island by himself here. And typically, whichever way the SEC winds have blown, the rest of college football follows. That is not the case here because Greg Sankey has made it clear where he and the SEC stand. They want to go to 16. And the rest of college football is saying, we don't care, we're going to 24. So they're at an impasse. Who's going to get their way? My guess is the rest of college football is going to get their way, and Greg Sankey is going to lose, and they're going to go to 24. The most interesting component of this whole thing, however, is while I believe, and you like, if you listen to the show, you know where I stand. I want them to go to 24 because, not for any financial reasons, I think it's the best plan. I want to see a real, actual playoff where teams who deserve access have access to go play it out on the field, and you don't need a committee. Have a predetermined metric that seeds the teams 1 through 24, regardless of conference. 1 through 24 make the tournament. The first 8 get a bye. Start 9 playing 24, 10 playing 23, and so on. And then from there, you go play it. First 2 rounds on campus, then you get to the stupid New Year's 6 sites, which I don't think should be involved, but if that's what they're going to do, it's what they're going to do. That would be awesome. Yes, give me more football, give me an actual playoff like every other sport in the history of mankind has, so you don't have to guess who we think is good. So you incentivize teams to actually schedule and play difficult games. That's how I feel about it. They're all doing it because of money, because they all have to look at budgets, and they all have to pay the players $20 million and pay coaches and travel and facilities and all the things, and so they need more TV revenue. Well, the easiest way to do that is expand the college football playoff. But what if the networks won't play ball? Ross Dellinger tweeted Jim Phillips of the ACC, who you just heard from, who is endorsing strongly a 2014 college football playoff. I'm reading directly from Dellinger's tweet. Jim Phillips says ESPN officials have been, quote, pretty clear that they want the playoff to remain at 12. And if it does expand, not to expand beyond 16 teams. Now, why in the world do you think ESPN wouldn't want this thing to expand? Why in the world do you think ESPN wouldn't want the college football playoff to expand beyond 12 teams? I mean, they have the rights, right? It's on their network. Why wouldn't ESPN want this? Why wouldn't they want more? Live sports is the only thing that people watch on linear television anymore. Live sports is the only, aside from the Oscars, live sports and the Oscars are the only thing in our society that is appointment viewing today, that people will watch when it comes on instead of on demand at their leisure. So now you have the second most popular sport in our country behind the NFL. It's NFL college football. And they're saying, hey, we'd love to give you more postseason inventory. Right? You're fired up about that, aren't you, ESPN? Why wouldn't ESPN want this? Anybody? Muse, Paulie, got an idea? Why wouldn't ESPN want it? Anybody? Nope.
renegotiation of the contract there? Pay a little bit more for it?
A little bit?
A lot more, yeah.
That deal is currently $1.3 billion annually that ESPN pays for the college football playoff rights. You take that, so they're like, hey, we're going to 12. By the way, the NFL, they ain't slowing down. The NFL keeps expanding their regular season. Every league keeps trying to get more. And at some point, like, you're already seeing the networks, ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC, you're already seeing them lose out on certain packages to Netflix, to Amazon, to the streaming services. Because at some point, you're tapped out. At some point, you're done spending. ESPN, I'm sure, is tickled to have the 12-team college football playoff and make the money that they're going to make off the 12-team college football playoff. But if you go to 24, then they gotta sit down at the negotiating table again and tear up that 6-year, $7.8 billion extension through the 2031-32 season that pays out $1.3 billion annually and go negotiate a new deal where they're going to have to pay maybe damn near double that number. I guess ESPN does want them to stay at 12. What will be fascinating to me, because they ain't staying at 12. What will be we just went through it. Why the leagues, why the schools need the playoff to expand, because they need more inventory so they can sell it, because they need more revenue, and that's the leverage they have. That's the asset they can sell. So, if it ain't ESPN, who is it? Does Netflix get involved? Does Prime get involved? Maybe not for the whole thing. Do you split it? I don't know. I have no idea. But from a negotiating perspective, of course ESPN wants it to stay at 12. They've got the contract set through 2031-32. You expand to 24, they got to renegotiate the deal at a much higher number. Yeah. Check out the motives. But they ain't stopping. That's not going to stop expansion. It's just going to be, okay, if you don't want to pay for it, we'll go shopping to someone who will. And they're going to pay for it, y'all. Because after the NFL, college football is the most popular sport in this country. And you better believe TV valuations or streaming are not going down. They're only going up. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. ParishRestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, all that rain that came through last weekend. If you had leaks, water intrusion in your home, think you could have mold, let Parish Restoration take care of it. They'll get that mold taken care of. They'll knock it out, done right the first time. It's Parish Restoration. They'll come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's ParishRestoration.com. Fill out the form right there on the homepage. They'll be in touch. They'll give you a free estimate on what it would cost. It's more cost-effective. It's more effective. It's more efficient. They can dry fog your home, be in and out in half a day. ParishRestoration.com, but not just your home. Any size commercial building. They've literally dry fogged the second largest commercial building in the state of Louisiana. ParishRestoration.com. ParishRestoration.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Let's knock out a break. LSU Florida will open up their 3-game series out at the box coming up here in 2 hours. 2 hours from first pitch, 2 hours and 2 minutes to be exact. Sean Kelley, voice of the Gators. He'll join us next. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com. Glowresources.com. They're complete employer solutions. Love telling you every single day about our friends over at Glow Resources. No matter what type of business that you run, you got to hire people. Unless if you're completely AI, which I don't think many people are. But if you got to hire people, you want to hire the right people that are going to make your business the most effective, the most efficient, the most profitable. Having the right people and the right seats on the bus is what makes a business run efficiently. Glow Resources helps you find those people, and it's not just in Baton Rouge. I mean, you can look at a lot of the jobs they have listed right now. They're looking for, I just saw this one on their Facebook. They're looking for a pavement milling machine operator in New Orleans. You can see that. They have need for a material handling and production technician in Baton Rouge. There's another company that's looking for design engineers in Bay Springs, Mississippi. Point is, no matter what job or where it is, Glow Resources can help you find the right people. GLO, glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's not easy to be a champion.
It's built from every swing, pitch, and game all season long. In the grind, the focus,
and in the recovery.
FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake experts provide best-in-class care for our state's world-class athletes. Because it takes a champion to care for champions.
I trust the lake to keep me at my best.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
At Parrish, we're built for tough players and tough roofs.
Coach is tough on us about preparation, and Parrish brings that same championship mindset.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
ParrishBuilt.com.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalVR.com.
Talented King, one of the best pitchers in the country. We didn't see them last year. Peterson pitched here as a freshman. He's got a great arm, up to 99, 100. Lawson is one of the best players in college baseball. Cade Kurland, he was there when we played him against the national championship. So I think they're capable of beating anybody and everybody, and they have a lot to play for. I think they're a clear host. That's not even a question. But I'm sure they want to jump up into that top 8. So they have a lot to play for this weekend.
Jay Johnson talking about the Florida Gators. We're a couple hours away from first pitch of Game 1 between LSU and Florida out at the box. Our buddy Sean Kelley, voice of the Gators, will be there. He's with us now. Sean, how are you, man?
I'm good. I won't be there, actually, Matt.
Are you on an NBA playoff call?
I am. I'm on Game 6, Spurs at Minnesota tomorrow night.
All right. It was literally my first note because I was leaving work the other day and jumped in the car. And, of course, as an ESPN affiliate, we carry a lot of the NBA playoff games. And I heard the familiar dulcet tones, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Sean is going to be here. Okay, so how does that work then, Sean, when you're not on the call for baseball?
Well, Jeff Cardozo is kind of the lead guy for baseball.
Okay.
And my priorities go kind of like this, and I don't want to get confusing here, but Florida football and basketball come first. And then when I left ESPN full-time for the Florida job, we decided to come up with this I guess, priority list that anything after Gators football and basketball, then we start horse trading a little bit with regard to my ESPN responsibilities. And this time of year, obviously, NBA playoffs is a big thing. So, like last weekend, I worked Florida baseball at home against Kentucky. This weekend, strangely enough, because it'd be nice to come back your way, this was going to be a big NBA playoff weekend. So I'm not with the baseball team after being with them last week.
Cool. Well, have a great call up there on the hardwood, man. It's an exciting time of year with the NBA playoffs, but college baseball, there's still a ton at stake. What we heard Jay Johnson there in the cut coming out. From your perspective or the Florida perspective, what is at stake this weekend for Kevin O'Sullivan's squad?
Yeah, Jay was really good in his comments yesterday, and that he's exactly right. I think that the Gators feel good about their situation with regard to hosting the regional round, but I think that they're right on the doorstep of possibly cracking that top 8, which obviously you would get the host all the way through until Omaha. And I think they would need to have a really good weekend at Baton Rouge. I don't know if that's win the series. I don't know if that's you got to sweep the Tigers, which would be a real tall order to get into the top 8, but that's what they're playing for. And I think for Kevin O'Sullivan, too, there's also this feeling of I think I've got my ball club finally healthy again, and let's continue the momentum of the last 2 weekends as they head for postseason play. That's really kind of the motivation here or the goal for the Gators this weekend.
Yeah, Sean, look, we always talk about like the 30-game marathon, right, in conference play. So there's going to be ebbs and flows, but this has been sort of a strange year for Florida with the Jekyll and Hyde act. To what do you attribute some of the dramatic swings this season has had for Florida?
Some of it, Matt, has been directly tied to injuries. And I know there's a lot of clubs, including LSU, that have had problems like that. But there have been some key injuries. The Lawson thing was really strange during that stretch. It's also a ball club that doesn't have a great deal of veteran presence. And I think there's something to that, too. Strangely enough, too, like this seems somewhat cliche, but the Gators have played very well against ranked competition. And therefore, obviously, they're second in the country in quad 1 wins, and they have a really good road record. They performed well, especially in the SEC on the road. But at the same time, they can also play down to their competition or lose focus at times, strangely enough. Like the vibe will change almost day to day. And so therefore, there's been a bit of this roller coaster ride. And the teaser for the fans is obviously, the big exciting top 25 wins or, up against it on the road and pull a series out. And then, seemingly the next day or the next weekend, it's like, who are these guys? And they can't score, or a guy like King doesn't get run support. Peterson's been a bit of a mystery this year with all his great stuff. He begins the year as the Friday night guy, but yet he's only got 1 win. So eventually he moves to Saturday, King moves to Friday, or in this case, the Thursday game of a 3-game set. So there's a lot of variables in there. Injuries at the top of the list, focus sometimes, like I said, and then just almost this randomness of regards to, either rising to the occasion or not just punishing somebody just because you're the better team.
Yeah, Aiden King will get the ball tonight, as you mentioned, for the Gators. LSU still TBA for their Thursday night starter. King is a strike thrower. When it's going good for him, what does it look like?
Fastball 94-95 with run, and it gets on hitters quickly. He has a pretty good release angle, so he hides it a little bit, and his reach is decent for his size. So 94-95 probably seems more like 97-98. The hitters, especially on the right side. Not a bad breaking ball, but good, and above average changeup too. And the location's the thing. He attacks the strike zone, Matt, and seemingly in his last 2 outings, like when he throws a ball, it's exactly where he wants it. It's a ball on purpose. It's in the exact spot that Carson Bowen's looking for it. He had an inning last weekend, and it almost caught me by surprise on the broadcast. 10 pitches, 9 for strikes. and the one pitch away from immaculate inning was literally 1.5 inches, 2 inches off the plate. So, I mean, it's all right there. And he's got this bulldog thing to him that's quite remarkable. He's a great conversationalist, a very normal guy as a sophomore. But on the mound, he just as soon kill you. And that goes well in a game one start. The other funky thing about him, and not funky, but interesting is probably the better word, I did an interview with him early in the year, like the first week of the season, right before. Somehow the conversation got to where he said he had some difficulties growing up. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, here's this guy from Jacksonville, suburban neighborhood, normal high school. What the heck's the adversity here? So I leaned into it just a little bit with, some caution. And he revealed to me that he has battled pretty severe dyslexia most of his life. His dad had it. And so growing up, obviously that was a lot of adversity. And through all that, I actually had the wherewithal to ask him, I said, do you think it's made you a better pitcher in some way? And he thought about it for a moment. He goes, yeah, I think so, because I don't see problems the same way that perhaps others do. And I have a patience and I have a work, process to get me in and out of situations just because that's what I've had to deal with the dyslexia. So I found that very interesting, and it actually started to make a lot more sense watching here this 19-year-old with the poise of someone much older than he actually is. So he's an interesting watch. I mean, it might be hard for Tigers fans to watch him tonight because if he's on, he's really, really good. But just from a baseball standpoint, it's one of these guys you look forward to seeing him take the ball and go get it.
Sean Kelley's with us, the voice of the Gators, at Sean Kelley Live, Kelley, at Sean Kelley Live. You want to give him a follow. What about thought offensively, Sean, as a team? The Gators are 12th in the league with a .271 batting average. How does that lineup comprised?
It's comprised of a healthy 9 now for Kevin O'Sullivan, and the numbers are up here the last 2 weeks. A lot of that has to do with Lawson kind of also getting back on track last week. He had an 0-for-19 slump going into the Kentucky weekend and finally looked more like himself again after the injury and then the illness that he had. Caden McDonald's come on strong now, and he's the new cleanup hitter and the new, maybe next Jack Caglione guy. Two-way player, hits for power. Didn't really take advantage of a chance early in the season, and then finally when Kevin O'Sullivan got frustrated with, who's my DH and why can't I get more tough outs in the 9. Here comes McDonald again, and all he's done is rake ever since. So he's solidified the 4 spot. Blake Sear's been good, and then Ethan Serwick, the other veteran who plays on the corners, he's been good too. I have noticed here in the last week, Cade Curlin, after an injury-riddled career, is looking a little bit more like his younger self, and is now batting 7th in that lineup. So he's helped the bottom third of the lineup that really struggled earlier this season. So it's still not, maybe an Omaha 9. Potentially it could be. But it's trending in the right direction because Kyle Jones has solidified himself as a very solid leadoff hitter. They'll hope he plays this week after missing 2 games last week with turf toe. And then the middle's been awfully good. They're a line drive hitting team, and the power numbers are there, in spurts. And look, it's one of those deals where they've got to put some pressure on teams by, not just playing base to base, but aggressively going first to third, take a line drive from a guy like Sear or Serwick, and turn those into manufactured runs. So that's kind of how that lineup looks right now.
Well, these are 2 teams that typically when they meet on the diamond, there's a lot at stake. Not necessarily the case this weekend, certainly at least for the LSU half. The Gators still playing for the opportunity to be a top 8. It'll all get started here in less than 2 hours. Sean Kelley, voice of the Gators, at Sean Kelley Live. We always appreciate the chat. Thanks for making time, man.
Yep, I'm going to miss you all this weekend, and it's always special, as you said, when these 2 teams get together. I think we all looked at this final weekend of the regular season as, whoa,
yeah.
LSU, Florida at the box, hello.
Yeah.
And I told somebody yesterday in an interview, I said, I know it can't happen because of the unbalanced schedule, but, man, wouldn't it be great if these 2 teams always played each other the last weekend of the regular season? It'd be great.
It typically means a lot, man. Hopefully the Tigers keep up their end of the bargain next year. Sean, we appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Matt. Take
All
care.
Right. Be well. It's after further review. Sean Kelley, one of the best. We always appreciate his time. Want to remind you, success takes a team and not just on the field. At FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, that team is more than 20,000 strong, delivering care across Louisiana and Mississippi as one connected, mission-driven health system. As a $5 billion health system with nationally recognized quality and not one but 2 exceptional workplace awards from Gallup, FMOL Health has built something people trust and continues to grow to meet the needs of the communities they serve. And when LSU needed a partner to care for its student athletes, they chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner. And that tells you everything you need to know, because that same level of care, it's not just for athletes, it's for you, your family, and communities across the region. It's bigger than sports. It's about having a health system you can count on. FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, and LSU. Together, we roar. Learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU. All right, we appreciate Sean Kelley for spending a couple of minutes with us here. In about 30 minutes, Fletcher Mackel is going to jump aboard from WDSU. A lot of the Saints' schedule leaks are out there as of now. About 11 of the 18 games, 11 of the 18 weeks, 11 of the 17 games, 11 of the 18 weeks have been leaked. So we're figuring out some of it. We'll react to it with Fletcher coming up here in about 30 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a break. Wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the Pros. Stick around.
AFR.
Get on by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, you know where they are. Siegen near Airline, that's the one where the scones shop. LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Actually, our Mother's Day tradition, Erica was very disappointed. Our Mother's Day tradition is the Saturday before Mother's Day. We always go to Clegg's, the one on Siegen, and we buy a whole mess of flowers, and we go back to the house, and we plant them all by in the patio pots and everything by the pool, and basically just spruce up the entire outdoor on the Saturday of Mother's Day weekend. Well, it was just an absolute deluge this weekend, so we did not make it over there on Saturday. So Eric was like, what about this Saturday? So you'll probably find the family scone over at Clegg's this weekend, looking to maybe find some dipplodenias, the dragon's breath. Gorgeous flowers, tons of selection. They got full greenhouses bursting with blooms over at Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in. The Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know you deserve value when you purchase equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Tractor packages with a trailer also available. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, get your job done. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th, 2026. Some restrictions apply. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number 2. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. We talked earlier in the hour about 24 teams, 16, whatever the case may be. Stuart said, Scone, why does Greg Sankey favor 16 over 24? Well, it's something, as you heard in the soundbite in the interview that he did with Ross Dellinger, that he's explained before and is not necessarily going to continue to hammer down on. But the bottom line is, it's not just about the number of teams, it's also about the number of spots and the access. And what I mean that is it's actually a little bit of defense, because if you expand the playoff to 24, there's certainly the opportunity for more SEC teams to get in, but most certainly there will also be opportunity for more teams from other leagues to get in, thus elevating their revenue also. As of right now, the SEC and the Big Ten kind of monopolize all that space. And so if you go to 16, when you guarantee 4 spots, like what they're lobbying for is guaranteeing 4 spots to the SEC and to the Big Ten, well, you have that, and then you're probably going to have more at-large spots from those 2 leagues as well, and so you're going to monopolize a bigger field. If you go to 24, it's going to provide more opportunity for teams from the ACC and the Big 12 and potentially G5 to get in there and generate more revenue for them, which obviously makes them more competitive. So an expanded playoff helps, in theory, with no auto bids, helps elevate the other leagues, which Greg Sankey doesn't want. He wants to continue dominating financially and on the field and having all the resources and all that sort of stuff. I just want a real playoff. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, decisioncriticalbr.com, decisioncriticalbr.com. Not just healthcare for your lifestyle. We do it every day about this time. USO Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Sources confirmed to ESPN that Giants wide receiver Malik Nabers underwent a second procedure on his right knee earlier in the offseason. You'll remember Nabers tore his ACL back in September. This second surgery was to remove scar tissue that was causing stiffness in the right knee. The Giants and Nabers remain hopeful that he will be ready for Week 1, September 13th, which will be a Sunday Night Football matchup against the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. Alex Bregman turned in a 2-for-4 night on Wednesday, and the Cubs lost to the Braves. Bregman, both hits were singles. He was stranded both times. But he's having a good series against the Bravos. Homer in Game 1 and now 2 singles there in Game number 2. Alex Lang shut out inning of relief for the Kansas City Royals in their loss to the White Sox a night ago. Did punch out 1. That's back-to-back really strong outings there for Lang. Dylan Cruz heating up a little bit in AAA. 2-for-4 a night ago with 4 RBI and 2 runs scored. He hit his 5th home run of the season, a 2-run shot in the bottom of the first inning, and then hit a double later in the ballgame, his 8th double of the year that also drove in some runs as well. He's up to 255 here on the season. Tommy White continues to hit the cover off the ball in AAA as well. 2-for-5, his 4th double and a single, drove in 2 runs, and he would come around to score as well. A .333 average for White since the move up to AAA. And we wrap it up with Eric Razelman, AA affiliation of the Yankees. 2 shutout innings of relief, 1 hit, no walks, 4 punch-outs for the former Tiger. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Earlier today, Tim, one of our great sales guys, was in Bachelor, Louisiana. You ever heard of Bachelor, Louisiana? I didn't know it was a thing.
I don't know where that is.
Batchelor. Shout out to Bachelor, Louisiana, but was doing some roof inspections up in Bachelor, Louisiana. Tons of hail damage from this past weekend. Hey, look, if you have or think you had roof damage, if you had hail, heavy rain, high wind, if you're looking at your downspouts and you're starting to see, like from your gutters, and you're seeing granules on the ground, it's a good indication that your roof could be compromised. You may have damage. It's worth getting an inspection. We can walk you through the whole process, y'all. Most importantly, like we always say, though, do business with someone you know. A local, reputable company. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Thank you for voting Parish the best roofing company in the Best of Baton Rouge. We're honored. We were earlier voted best roofing company in Best of Ascension as well. We're honored to help. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. All right, it's after further review. Big story of the day, if you haven't heard, Verge Ausberry gave an interview to USA Today, sort of lashed out at Brian Kelley and defending Lane Kiffin. We'll kind of reset that, and Fletcher Mackel's here in about 20 minutes.
AFR.
Excuse me. A little frog in my throat. Let me get a little sip of my Evamore here. EVAMOR. Evamore.com. Evamore.com. Natural artesian water, a great Louisiana product. Remember, when you're drinking Evamore, you're supporting a great Louisiana company that has national distribution. They're right there in Covington on the North Shore, but you can find Evamore all over the country. I love it when listeners of the show in Chicago or St. Louis or California shoot me a picture on the text line or a tweet or a DM. They're like, hey, man, saw your water in Lamont, Illinois. I don't know if there's a Lamont. Is there a Lamont, Illinois? That sounds familiar. Anyway, point is, support a great Louisiana company. Stop drinking that stupid water from Texas or the foreign tropical lands. Drink Evamore. EVAMOR. Evamore.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish contractors, let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have...
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Live coverage of the first round of the PGA Championship rolls on ESPN. Scottie Scheffler, the top-ranked golfer in the world, in a group at the top of the leaderboard that also includes Justin Thomas. They're 3 under. Rory McIlroy is 7 off the lead. The Pistons facing a bit of a dilemma with their primary big man ahead of a must-win in Game 6 of their second-round NBA playoff series against the Cavaliers tomorrow. What to do about Jalen Duren? He's had a lackluster postseason so far, kept on the bench in OT in last night's loss. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
He's asked to do something that he wasn't ready for. He's not ready for this moment. He's asked to be a Robin to Cade Cunningham in a crucial part on the biggest stage in the postseason. He's not that, but he's only 22 years old. He's going to learn and grow from this.
Pistons Cavs Game 6 tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, followed by Spurs up 3-2 at the Timberwolves in Game 6. Baseball, Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh on the injured list with a right oblique strain. First time in his big league career he's landed on the IL.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Fletcher, Mackel, WDSU be here in about 13 minutes from right now. NFL schedule leaks are going on. The full schedule releases tonight at 7 p.m., so 2 hours from right now, they'll have the full schedule release. As of this very moment, the up-to-date schedule leaks that are out there that we know of, I'll run through this very quickly. By the way, it's at louisianasports.net. It's right at the top of the homepage, the schedule leak tracker. If you want to go give it a look, it's all there for free. So a few things that have filled out here now. I mean, it's almost the entire schedule. At Detroit, week 1. At Baltimore, week 2. Home opener, week 3 against the Raiders. Then you're home against the Falcons in week 4. Then home against Minnesota in week 5. So back-to-back-to-back home games. Week 6, you're at the Giants. That makes sense because you'd be playing an East Coast game in New York. And from there, most likely, you would just fly from New York to Paris for your Week 7 game against the Steelers. Weeks 8 and 9 have not yet been disclosed. It could certainly mean that the Saints will take their bye on Week 8 when they get home from Paris. We don't know Week 9 yet. Week 10 would be home against Carolina. At Chicago, at Cincinnati, weeks 11 and 12. That's relevant because we're looking at some of those outdoor cold weather potential cold weather games at Chicago in week 11, which would be November the 22nd, and then at Cincinnati a week later on November 29th. Not a total break, but catching them in November is better than catching them in December or early January. So at Chicago, at Cincinnati, 11 and 12. Not sure about week 13 yet. Week 14 is at Carolina. Week 15, we're not sure yet. And then week 16, home against the Cardinals. Week 17 is not determined. And then week 18 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but not yet determined or stated via that report if it would be home or away. So, but one of the games there against Tampa looks like week 18. So, if you missed all that or I went quickly, you just go to louisianasports.net. It's free. It's on the front of the homepage if you want to catch it right there with the leaks as we know right now. Tomorrow, on Friday, when the schedule's official, we're back here on air. We'll run through the entirety of it coming up tomorrow on the show, so we'll look forward to that. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Graduation's tomorrow as well, so congrats to all the grads. Remember, if you're looking for a great gift for the grad in your life, you can always get by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. 9 locations, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, maybe some timeless pearls, a beautiful watch, tons of great gifts. Maybe you're not celebrating a graduate. Maybe you're thinking of popping the question. Lee Michaels has helped Louisianians get engaged for 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LSU baseball, we are an hour and a half away from first pitch with the Tigers and the Gators. We still do not know as of yet who the starting pitcher will be for LSU. Hopefully, the lineup's posted before we're off air. I'm not sure that's going to happen with the 6:30 first pitch, but if we do find out who the starting pitcher will be, we'll talk about it. Jay did say Kason Evans is going to throw this weekend at some point. We don't know where or in what capacity. The other thing that Jay was asked about was about, I thought was interesting, was Chris Stanfield and the possibility of Stanfield returning this weekend for his final weekend at Alex Box Stadium.
I don't think he's 100% at all. I think it's a credit to him, his toughness, how important this is to him to try to finish it out right, to want to get on the field. And he was extremely sore Sunday after 2 at-bats on Saturday. And you see him between innings, like trying to move in the outfield to make sure he was in the best position he could be to make a play. So credit to him for trying to tough through it, but he's not 100%.
Yeah. So may not see Chris Stanfield this weekend. Hopefully at some point he'll get one more at bat, get a proper ovation from the crowd at Alex Box Stadium, but remains to be seen if that'll be able to happen. So if that lineup is posted before we get off air here, we'll run through it as it looks for game 1 with the Tigers and the Gators. But Jay effectively, whenever he released the pitching rotation for the weekend, he's effectively telling you there's no real path for them to earn an at-large. They got to go win the SEC tournament next week. They'll have to win 5 games in 6 days, and the best opportunity to do that is have William Schmidt going for you on Tuesday in what would likely be an 11-14 matchup. That would, as it stands now, that would be Tennessee against LSU on Tuesday. So that's really what they're playing for. And Florida, meanwhile, is trying to secure lock up their host site and potentially a top 8 national seed. If Florida sweeps LSU, that would put them at 8. They're at 15 wins right now. They put them at they're at 15-12. They'd put them at 18-12. 18 is far from a lock for a national seed, but they could get there if some other things fall their way. So a few things worth keeping an eye on this weekend with the Tigers and the Gators out at Alex Box Stadium. The biggest story of the day, if you're just joining us, you haven't heard, we opened the show with it earlier today. Verge Ausberry, and I did text Verge just to clarify. Verge Ausberry made some comments on an interview with USA Today with Blake Topmeyer, effectively defending Lane Kiffin, and in so doing, taking very direct, obvious shots at Brian Kelley, not in any way subtle. And I texted Verge just to clarify that the interview he did with Blake Topmeyer was after the Lane Kiffin Vanity Fair piece dropped. Because remember, we had Wilson Alexander here with us a couple days ago. And Wilson's feature dropped on Tuesday. The Vanity Fair piece dropped Monday. Wilson's feature dropped Tuesday. And Wilson spoke to Lane Kiffin on last week, like last Thursday. So he had already done the feature and the sit-down with Kiffin before the Vanity Fair piece ever dropped. He clarified he later went back and asked Kiffin, hey, do you want to comment on the controversy about the segregation comment in the Vanity Fair? And so that's how that quote got added. So anyway, I was just making sure with the context of what Verge said that his comments were in response to the Lane Kiffin Vanity Fair piece, and they were. He did clarify that it was after. My point will continue to be, and I gave a long thesis on this to start the show. You can catch that on demand if you want to hear it all. Effectively, my point is a lot of what Verge said is true. You can find boosters and people that worked at LSU football and players and former players that did not like Brian Kelley. That's true. So, too, is it true that you can find former players and boosters and people that work at LSU that did like Brian Kelley a lot. So, both things can be true. You don't have to criticize Kelley to defend Kiffin. The merits of hiring Kiffin stand on their own. And LSU's going to line up behind their guy. And they're going to have to go win games because that's ultimately why Brian Kelley isn't the coach. Not because he wasn't liked by fans or boosters. Or like Brian Kelley's not the coach because they didn't win enough. And that's what Lane Kiffin's going to have to do differently. All right, it's after further review. Remember, you can always get involved in the show. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. You can text our station line as well, 499-1045. And if you text the letters LSN, as in LouisianaSports.net, LSN, text LSN to 225-499-1045, you'll opt in to get our text updates when we have breaking news. So if there's ever breaking news, we're not spamming you like every. It's just if there's breaking news, we'll send you a text with the breaking news link. So text LSN to 225-499-1045, 499-1045. All right, Fletcher Mackel from WDSU will join us next. Talk about the Saints' schedule leaks. Stick around.
After further review.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always start at the website, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Hey, remember the Gordon Gives laptop giveaway, the Gordon's Grads laptop giveaway? They already ran that promotion. Can't wait to share the winners with you here soon, with graduation being this weekend for so many, for LSU, for so many high schools. But bottom line is Gordon loves to give back. If it's the bike giveaway during Christmas, the laptop giveaway during graduation season, if it's the many ways that he supports college athletes through his NIL deals with the G team, so many ways. I mean, I tell you, Drew plays Miracle League. You go out to Miracle League, there's a Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney sign on the outfield fence at Miracle League. You know, MC the Down Syndrome Awareness Group Buddy Walk. Gordon always has a tent and a booth over there. Amazing philanthropy in the ways that Gordon gives back to the communities he serves. You've been injured, you need help, you know what to do. GetGordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
It's not easy to be a champion.
It's built from every swing, pitch, and game all season long.
In the grind, the focus, and in the recovery.
FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake experts provide best-in-class care for our state's world-class athletes. Because it takes a champion to care for champions.
I trust the lake to keep me at my best.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
At Parrish, we bring the same commitment to your home that champions bring to the game.
Do business with someone you know.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
If you're scoring at home, it looks like 11 of the Saints' 17 games, 18 weeks, have been leaked so far, including week 1 at Detroit against the Lions. Fletcher Mackel, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Rap a little bit about it. Yo, dude, how are you?
Matt, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Where does the schedule release fall on your things I give a damn about list?
It's moved up. You know, it's funny. I was having this conversation. I am now in my 24th year here at WDSU in New Orleans. I remember covering the draft when it started at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. It is now a primetime must-see event.
Yeah.
I remember the schedule release where it was, hey, is that happening today? And now it's social media leaks nonstop. So it's something I'm interested in and have become more interested in just because I think we all want to know, are they playing cold weather games? What's the first home game? What are marquee matchups? So I like the schedule, and I'm liking it more and more. But this year, I have to admit, I'm sure we'll get into it. In my opinion, the NFL, did the Saints in the people of Southeast Louisiana a massive disservice.
The Paris game?
No, believe it or not, no. I'm excited about the Paris game.
Okay.
And I understand that the Steelers not coming to New Orleans is something that affects the economy because the Steelers travel big, and that would be great for our restaurants and bars and tourism. You mentioned the leak. What we know right now, there will be no Falcons at Saints in week 3, which will be the 20th anniversary of the Dome coming, which was a seminal moment, not only in sports history here, but in the history of our city, the reopening of the Superdome following Hurricane Katrina, Green Day and U2, the Gleason Block. There's a statue that says rebirth, for God's sake, and the NFL didn't put the Falcons here on the 20th anniversary when they could have done nothing but celebrate the Saints' history in an amazing, great moment. And so to me, I just feel like that's a massive fail on the schedule maker's part.
The league, for what it's worth, has the Saints hosting the Falcons a week later in week 4. I don't know, Fletch, I'm curious your thoughts. To me, I think that's just an enormous moment here. I wonder how much that's nationally people would be aware of the Dome coming anniversary, or I hate to, not to be blunt, but outside of here where it means so much doesn't mean I have a panoramic shot of the Dome coming in, like above the door in my office. But like, how many people outside of here think that's a big deal?
No, let me say this. And look, I agree. I understand that I am speaking from a passionate, born and raised New Orleanian who covered Katrina and lived Katrina and did 7 hours of coverage the day the game opened. And it was this massive relief valve for everybody in our community. And like you said, it still means something to you. I understand. I am looking at it on planet New Orleans. The 10,000-foot view is people may not even recognize it anymore because we're 20 years past it. But I think that is one of the important things that a league should represent and say, look, this was an important moment for an important franchise that's been a part of our league since the 1960s. And this is a chance for us to celebrate something good, that the NFL having a huge hand in helping this city it was an opportunity, even if it's a regional deal or we're 2 decades past it, for them to pat themselves on the back, celebrate Paul Tagliabue, celebrate Goodell, who was the number 2, who was instrumental in helping get this team back here. They could have just patted themselves on the back for being champions of a city when we were down and out. So, again, I understand that it's a very local type of moment, but it's something that could be celebrated. And look, maybe they do it in week 4, but the fact that they're not doing it on the actual anniversary. They could have played a Thursday night game the day before the anniversary. They could have played a Monday night game around it. And the fact that they've got the Raiders on a Sunday, basically on that anniversary weekend, I just feel like it's a miss. But I understand. I am, a biased New Orleanian who thinks they made a mistake. And sometimes it's easy to hate on the NFL given the history with the Saints and how things have unfolded here.
True. It'll be interesting too, Fletcher, because it would have been easy to put that game in week 3, even without making it a primetime event. But I guess you could have done both. So I'll be curious to see what games are in primetime in that week 3, notably on Monday Night Football, as that game was played obviously in 2006 on Monday Night Football. We talked about, so you like Paris. Are you assuming that they're going to take the bye in week 8, the week after they play the Steelers in Paris?
100%, yes, 100%. I would absolutely expect them to take the bye. They've been overseas 3 times, 08, 17, and 22. All those games were in London. And every time they did that, well, I shouldn't say that, not every time. 2 of the 3 times they did it, they took the bye. In 08, they played the Chargers, they took the bye. In 17, their game in London was like in week 4. It was the first game. And so Sean Payton asked to not have the bye that early in the season because they were going to London in week 4, and he wanted a bye later in the season. But then in 22, when they played the Vikings, they took the bye. So, look, they're playing in New York before they go to Paris. So it's New York, Paris. They're definitely going to get the bye coming back from Paris.
You assume that they'll just, I would assume, Fletch, they'll leave straight from New York and go straight to Paris. Don't come home.
100%. Yeah, look, the last 3 times, it's funny, the last 3 times they played overseas, like I just mentioned, 08, 17, and 22, all 3 of those games the previous week were actually in Carolina. So all 3 times they went from Carolina straight to London, took the overnight flight Sunday, got there with the time change early Monday morning, spent all week overseas. So, yes, they'll play Sunday in New York, and they'll get on an overnight flight and be in Paris early Monday morning with the time change.
That makes sense. Fletcher Mackel's with us, WDSU, at Fletcher WDSU, if you want to give him a follow. Based on what's been leaked so far, what else stands out to you?
I mean, I think it's a tough start. I mean, at Detroit, they're going to be on a revenge tour to show that 15 wins 2 years ago wasn't a fluke. That's a tough place to play. That is a really good team. And even if they're not going to be one of the best teams in the NFC, that's a veteran team that's still a playoff team, in my opinion, with a coach who's going to be fired up and gets after it in a stadium that is raucous. And then you go to Baltimore in week 2. And look, again, I understand Baltimore took a step back last year, but with Jesse Minter, a new coach, you still have Lamar Jackson, who's an MVP in this league. That's a tough 2 weeks to open up on the road before you come home for that week 3 game against what is more than likely a rebuilding Vegas team with a new coach and probably a young quarterback.
Yeah, do you think we'll see Cousins? Because is it Mendoza or Cousins in week 3?
That's a great question. Sharif and I, my colleague Sharif Ishak, who obviously you know very well and from Baton Rouge days there, we were just debating that. Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it Mendoza? Who knows? I mean, I don't know what Kubiak's commitment to the veterans is going to be, or is it just going to be to Mendoza and Cousins is going to be a backup? They signed Kirk Cousins. They have Mendoza. I really don't know what his philosophy is going to be on how soon he wants to see the number 1 pick in the 2026 draft out there. I hope it's sooner. I'd much rather see Fernando Mendoza just from a fan perspective and a coverage perspective, because I think that's a better storyline than kind of tired old Kirk Cousins again.
Tired old Kirk Cousins who beat the Saints last year.
It looked like an all-pro doing it.
Anything else that you're curious about or hoping to see with the remainder of the games we don't know yet that are going to pop up here in about an hour and a half?
I'll say this. There's 2 games that jumped out to me, and I thought, man, oh, man, that right now, as we get ready to start the season, look, injuries affect teams. Some teams rise, some teams fall. That's the great thing about the NFL. There's more parity. Truly, all 32 teams have a chance every single year. Looking at the schedule right now, there's a 2-week stretch that jumps out to me. It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving and the Sunday after Thanksgiving. The Sunday before Thanksgiving, the Saints are in Chicago against Dennis Allen's defense, Caleb Williams at quarterback, Ben Johnson's offense, and then they go to Cincinnati. And look, as long as Burrow's healthy, Cincinnati's a Super Bowl contender. That's a buzzsaw 2 weeks looking at it right now. Outdoors, cold weather games in November potentially against two really good teams. That is a tough 2-week stretch.
Right there, week 11, week 12, there at the end of November. Those will be a couple of potential cold weather games. But I guess, Fletcher, you'd rather have those late November than late December or January. So not the shortest straw, but certainly not the best draw you could have there as well. We'll know it all coming up here at 7 o'clock tonight when the full schedule is released. Still about 7. We got 11, so it's six more playing dates. We're waiting to see. Then obviously the bye, which we're assuming is going to happen on week 8. Fletcher Mackel, WDSU at Fletcher, WDSU, if you want to give him a follow. Send our warmest regards to Sharif, please.
I will. He's happy as always because he's always happy, and I appreciate you letting me rant for a few minutes here.
It's our pleasure. Thanks, man. We'll see. That's Fletcher Mackel. It's after further review. We're brought to you by Supper Club. Oh, by the way, I was driving in today. Chef Layton called me. So graduations this weekend. And, they are booked solid from 5 o'clock on. He told me they actually had someone who called and was like, what's the latest reservation? He's like, we couldn't get you in here till midnight. They're like, perfect, we'll take it. It's like, no. We're not seating people at midnight and keeping our staff here till 3 a.m. So they are booked solid Friday, Saturday because of graduation. However, they are going to open up. They just made this decision because they are booked solid. They're going to open Friday and Saturday at 3 o'clock instead of at 5. So if you want to get in early, have an early seating, an early dinner before the ceremony, or if the ceremony is early in the day, you're going to have a late lunch at 3 o'clock. They are taking reservations. You can go to Open Table and get your reservations. You'll see it at Open Table for Supper Club for just 2 days, just Friday, Saturday. That's just because of graduation, and they are booked solid 5 p.m. on, so you're not getting in this weekend. Unless if you're interested Friday or Saturday with a 3 o'clock, but between 3 and 5 in that 2-hour window. You can get in between 3 and 5. Now, I tell you all the time, there's open seating at the bar. So you can always try to pop in and grab a couple of bar stools, grab a bar table, maybe get lucky. But look, Supper Club's awesome. I tell you all the time, it's the best place to celebrate anything or just because. I was there on Tuesday night, had dinner with some clients, had an awesome time, tried the Australian Wagyu. The Kobe beef is gone. I told you that wasn't going to last but 2 weeks. It's gone. So, but chefs always bringing in interesting new cuts. The Sagrera cuts are always great. It's just an awesome dining experience. So get on by, try Supper Club. If you haven't been yet, if you haven't been in a while, get back in there. If you're a regular, you already know the drill. But supperclubbtr.com. Again, this Friday, Saturday, for graduation, so tomorrow and Saturday, they're opening up at 3 o'clock for just those 2 days, so they will have seating between 3 and 5. If you want an early dinner or a late lunch, you could do it at Supper Club to celebrate graduation this weekend only, but they've opened seating from 3 to 5 for this weekend only. Okay, it's after further review. We're going to knock out a quick break, come back. Waiting to see if LSU is going to drop the line. Probably... refresh it. Hopefully they do. I'm not holding my breath because we're an hour away from first pitch. But if we do see the line before we get out of here, we'll certainly pass it along to you. So we'll knock out a quick break. Quick thought on the LSU Florida series. Now we'll update. I told you yesterday that they've planned that basketball fundraiser. Speaking of Supper Club, the fundraiser with Will Wade. I do have an update on that and how it's gone so far, the response to it. So I'll give you that when we come back. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Customer service in 2026 in a lot of industries feels like a lost art. You know what I'm talking about. We don't have to go deep into examples. But when it comes to buying or selling your home and working with a realtor, when you call Darren James, you will never have to worry about it. Darren has made it his mission to provide unbelievable customer service experience to his clients. He often says that he wants to create such a seamless process that he puts himself out of business, where people wouldn't even need realtors anymore. And when that's your guiding principle, you can't help but succeed when you're always thinking client first. That's Darren James. It's sincere, and you'll get it from the first conversation you have with Darren James. I give you his cell number every day. Call him or text him. 225-335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Spring is here, and that means it's time for a little cha-ching. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are giving you the chance to win $5,000 cash with the Spring Cha-Ching Sweepstakes. Head over to 1045ESPN.com and get registered today for your chance to win the $5K. It's quick, it's easy, and someone is going to walk away with some serious spring spending money. The Spring Cha-Ching Sweepstakes, presented by Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Told you yesterday that there's a fundraiser for the LSU basketball program and their NIL initiative. It's a night with Will Wade at Supper Club on June 22nd. And it's $3,500 per ticket, $5,000 per ticket for the VIP, which starts a half an hour earlier. A little cocktail hour with Will exclusive. So they're going to sell. I guess I could say this is fine. there's only 40 VIPs that they're going to sell, and I think there's 104 general tickets that they'll sell. So it's going to be a small, intimate gathering, right? But just when you do the math on those numbers, it's going to be roughly $500,000 that they make on the ticket sales, and then obviously while you're there, people want to pledge more, give more, raise more. They're hoping to raise a lot more, but it was interesting. I mentioned this yesterday. I told you I thought it was a really good idea because the thing that at times I hesitate because it might be a poor word choice, but I could say that LSU maybe has done a poor job or struggled with, I think, is engaging that mid-tier donor, whereas we know who the very prominent, generous, like 7-figure donors have been, from Todd Graves and Gordon McKernan and Pepper Rutland at MMR, and obviously Our Lady of the Lake, and they're the Spates. I don't want to start listening because I'm going to leave people off. But there's an entire tier of donors that could give $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 that I think at times maybe LSU could do a better job engaging. And sometimes with a fundraiser, when you have a specific ask, it's easier to make that money. For example, we talked earlier in the show about Brian Kelley last year with the $1 million match. Brian Kelley put up $1 million. He wanted people to donate to match the $1 million. They ended up raising $3.2 million with that specific initiative. Well, this is an opportunity where certainly it's exclusive. Not everybody can afford $3,500 for a ticket. That's understandable. But are there 100 people that can do that? Absolutely. So engaging those people who have the means, are willing to support the program, and do so in a manner that can help supplement in addition to rev share and some of your very generous high-level donors. Like, those are the things when you can create good opportunities for people like this that you need to do. And I did have a conversation. Let me text this person real quick, see if I can say their name. I don't know if the person who I chatted last night with the person. Okay, he's listening. So Charles Harvey organized this, and he's obviously a very generous LSU benefactor, and has been very generous to the basketball program. I mean, the Will Wade flight to go pick him up from NC State and back and on the tarmac and whatever. Anyway, so Charles Harvey's the one that organized this, and Charles and I spoke last evening after I talked about this on the air. He reached out, and before LSU even went public with this, and he's the one who asked LSU, can we do it? They said yes. So they organized the whole thing at Supper Club and all. He said basically just as sort of like a pre-sale, just texting and letting people know what they were organizing, they sold about a third of the seats before they even made it public, which tells you, yes, there's a large interest in doing something like this. It will absolutely sell out with ease. If before you've even made people publicly aware of it, just a very loose via text message, hey, would you be interested in this? They sold a third of the seats. Yes, obviously it'll sell out. It'll be great because we see what Will Wade's doing right now with a lot of the reported commitments from international basketball players. And, I don't know yet what that's going to cost. And there's been a reported $12 to $15 million for the roster. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, conversations I've had on the record and off the record, when Will Wade was negotiating his return to LSU, they did not discuss I shouldn't say discuss. They did not guarantee a roster budget. LSU didn't say this will be your roster number, and Will didn't give them a number. Because, quite honestly, if you put a number on something, now you're capping yourself. And what if you go over? So I think they have an idea of what they want to spend on this roster. But if you have the opportunity to be competitive and get really good players internationally, we've talked a lot about Alan Graves, right, who, again, in an interview sort of reiterated he'd like to be a first-round pick and go to the NBA, but he's also in the portal, and if that doesn't work out, he'll go to Duke or LSU, and I think LSU would be really, really competitive there because financially, I've been told LSU will match whatever Duke will pay him. Then it's a matter of, do you want to go compete to win a championship at Duke and play a season at Duke, or do you want to play in your home state, close to home, where your family can see you play every day and all that sort of stuff? Again, that's a decision that has to be made. All that to say, like, this is a really smart idea. It's and it's exactly the type of thing that LSU needs to do more of. And it's also an illustration of sport-specific events to fundraise for those sports. And, like when LSU baseball, for example, went and played the fall game in Biloxi, that effectively acted as an NIL, quote-unquote, fundraiser for LSU baseball. So I think it's important for every sport, for Jay Clark in gymnastics, Will, Jay Johnson, everybody. Kim Mulkey has to go, pound the pavement and fundraise for her program. To be able to do things like this that are creative ways to engage new donors that can help supplement, because those same 5 or 6 people at the top aren't going to be able to do that. Like, that's the big concern, right? Like, those same handful of people that have been so generous to this point aren't going to be able to do that every single year, rinse and repeat. They're going to be tapped out. So engaging maybe some new high-level donors who have been on the sideline, and then mobilizing that tier of donor as well, I think is just critical in this era. And the other thing that will be a fascinating watch, and file this away because it's not going to happen right now, but what happens in the football portal cycle in January is going to be fascinating, because, like, we know with what LSU, I've explained this to you, with how they spent to build this football roster and effectively combining 2 cycles of rev share and their donor dollars, you're going to have to rely heavily on your donor dollars for the January portal cycle before rev share resets in June of 27. So, or maybe it's July of 27, but next summer of 27. So you're going to have to pass the hat in a big way come January. It's much easier to do if football is coming off a really great season, right? A CFP appearance, whatever it may be, championship caliber season. You go spend $40+ million on the roster, and you go 8-4. Much harder to pass that hat in January. And then how does that residual effect happen? So all that to say, I'm very glad to see LSU do this. Glad to see the response has been what it has been so far. So hat tip to Charles Harvey. But a great idea, and they're executing it and going very well as they're fundraising for Will Wade's basketball program to build this roster. Hopefully get the Tigers back in the NCAA tournament next March. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Tell you about Blasia and her awesome team every single Thursday that we're here. My own personal experiences, I mean, they've been awesome. Erica's been sick a few times. They're coming home. They've given her IVs. They came in home at 9 o'clock at night to do a blood draw for Drew, so we didn't have to take him to a doctor's office and do his blood labs there. It's a very, very difficult thing for a special needs child with a lot of sensory issues. Maybe it's hospice care, end of life care. Maybe it's post-operative, carry out the doctor's orders in home. Their nurses can be with you in the recovery room post-op to get your doctor's orders so they can help carry those out. Whatever it may be, it's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. It's decisioncriticalbr.com, decisioncriticalbr.com. Schedule that discovery call today, decisioncriticalbr.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Jimmy will be here for Otterlocks, LSU, and Florida. We are 45 minutes away from first pitch out of the box, game 1 of that series. Still waiting for that lineup to be posted. When it is, we'll certainly pass it along to you if it is before we get out of here. Let's knock out our final break of the show. Jimmy's here for Otterlocks next.
AFR.
Whenever you try to go to a website and it's just crawling, or you get the little circle the thinking circle on your screen or your phone isn't resetting. It's just so maddening. It's so maddening. And in the grand scheme of life, we're talking about seconds, right? But when you expect something instantaneously like we do now with high-speed internet, you want it to work. Well, if you want reliability, if you want lightning-fast speeds, you want local service, oh, by the way, and better pricing, then you want Rev Fiber. R-E-V, RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com. You can see where Rev has laid fiber already for your home, for your business, and where they're going as well, and why it might benefit you. It certainly will benefit you to switch financially to get better service from Rev Fiber, better coverage, lightning-fast speeds for less money. RevFiber.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Every ounce of Raising Cane's lemonade has been hand-squeezed that day from fresh lemons before being served over our signature crushed ice. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online.
Man, I had a great conversation today with Big Jake over at River Parish Contractors. What an awesome dude, man. I'm going to tell you, if you are looking for work, and we tell you all the time, if it's welders or crane operators or pipe fitters or pipe cutters, you want to work in the fab shop, River Parish Contractors needs to talk to you. And Big Jake was telling me, man, I always get the same three questions. People want to know, what's the rate? What's the wage? What are the hours? Can you make overtime? And then, where am I working? Have that. Big Jake's got the answers lined up for you already, but the bottom line is, you want to work, you got a great attitude, you want to work at a place with great culture, great people that's local, where you can work as much overtime as you want, and they got so much work lined up, they're going to keep you busy, and you want to be home with your family every night, you want River Parish Contractors. So call Big Jake, rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
Well, didn't want to mouth it, but, man, we were really, really close to another 5-0. I mean, start off 9-1, put out 2 winners on the Daily Show yesterday afternoon, 11-1. The first 2 are in last night, 13-1. We're winning by 2 in the 10th inning. Lose that on a walk-off grand slam. And 1 out away from Milwaukee winning. They lose with a 3-out homer. And, of course, the Pistons brother. So, you talk about it turns quickly.
It can.
Anyway.
It can. But we're still way ahead, man. Having a hell of a week,
Way
man.
ahead. Hell of a week. Let's get right to it because I got to add on from what I gave Hunt earlier. Red Sox and Suarez, man, has not given up a run. His last 2 starts, like them at home against Luzardo. It's a soft number. Down to -118 currently at DraftKings and pretty much everywhere out there. Well, I like that's the only one. Couldn't really find a whole lot besides that in Major League Baseball. The White Sox, I like to play them, but they don't have one of their better pitchers throwing. Too steep of a price for Atlanta and Los Angeles. So we go to the NHL, and Colucci's kind of non-committal today. He's kind of a Canadians fan, so he did that, but. Randy McKay did give out yesterday. He gave out the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. So they're basically even money tonight. They're down 3-2. All 3 losses have been really, really close losses to the Vegas Golden Knights. So I would take Anaheim to try and force a Game 7 with that one tonight. And then we're going to add on for college baseball. I'm going to go out to Big Ten country, the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Eugene, Oregon. So Oregon is a top 20 RPI team. USC is a top 10 RPI. So USC's resume is better. But Oregon is 10-2 in Big Ten home games. USC is 4-8 in Big Ten road games. And their plus price, plus about 25 or 30. I'm going to go with the Ducks at home plus the price.
Oregon right now, DraftKings plus $1.24. So like the Ducks at home, quack, quack. They're up in Eugene. All right, so the Red Sox on the money line, the Anaheim Ducks on the ice on the money line, and quack, quack, the Oregon Ducks. We like the Anaheim Ducks and the Oregon Ducks tonight. How about the Mighty Ducks?
And don't forget, when they've got those day games, we're putting them out. Who's our favorite over team?
The Nationals.
Over again. So, I mean, the Braves, Braves' best record in baseball. They're the highest scoring team in baseball. A whole lot of people realize that the Washington Nationals are the 2nd highest scoring team in baseball. We keep riding them until they kind of show us that not to back day over. So bad relief pitching too. I mean, they came in and Cincinnati teed off. Cincinnati had the over by themselves today. By the way, Chase Burns, his last 6 starts for Cincinnati, the kid out of Tennessee and Wake Forest, less than 1 ERA his last 6 starts. So. He's kind of through in his. That's real good.
Hey, before you go, whenever the schedule release comes out, is there anything to keep an eye on that's going to be worth maybe trying to get some action on early?
Coming off of buys, we'll review this next week with Randy McKay, and he'll have and you're not going to see a whole lot of it, but he looks at teams coming off a bye versus team with like their 3rd straight divisional game. And, of course, back-to-back European trips like Jacksonville, the 2nd game, their clock is more conditioned. That's one of them. But I defer to Randy.
Okay.
I mean, he's very, very good at it, and he will have spots as soon as next week on that schedule that he's circling.
All right. Rufino's tomorrow for I got a week Friday edition of Live at Lunch with Otter and Hanny. Thank you, Otter.
Big happy graduation. Yes, there'll be a lot of people celebrating tomorrow at Rufino's.
It'll be packed. All right, man. Have a great one. Thank you. We appreciate it. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. Thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. 100 acres in St. Francisville, 20 acres in Covington. You want to build your family's dream home? Have that rural lifestyle? First South Farm Credit can help make it happen. Maybe, tax season in the rearview mirror. You're talking with your CPA. Owning recreational timberland, you're going to incur expenses. Maybe it's a great tax benefit. Have a conversation with your CPA to see if that's something maybe you want to look into doing. Maybe it's that hunting property, that recreational property in Mississippi or in Texas, wherever it is in the lower 48. thinking of buying land, get with a local land lender at First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. Well, Jay Johnson said yesterday that Chris Stanfield was really sore after just a couple of at-bats, not feeling great. Really wondering if Stanfield was going to be able to bounce back. And Stanfield starting in left field. Naturally, right? So Lockenmeyer is going to get the ball for LSU. The lineup's posted. So they'll go Braun, Cerna, Curiel, Aaron Beatty, Milam, Pearson at third, Ruckert, Patrick, and then Stanfield in left, batting ninth. That's how they'll line it up. Danny Lockenmeyer will get the ball for the Tigers tonight. He'll make the start. We know that it'll be Marcos Paz in Game 2 and Zach Cowan in Game 3. So if we see Kason Evans, it'll be in a relief role at some point this weekend. We'll see how that goes. But very clearly, they're saving William Schmidt for Tuesday in the opener at the SEC tournament. So Tigers and Gators, about 35 minutes away from first pitch. You'll hear it over on Eagle 98.1. Of course, we'll be back on Friday to recap all of it, and we'll have the full NFL schedule release, so we'll talk about it then. Have a great night. See you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. With locations all over South Louisiana, you're never far from a Shawbills location, so get on by and get you some tires. Look, nobody wants to buy tires. It's not a fun purchase. I get it. You know what's fun? For me, going to buy new sneakers. That's fun. Buying a new car? Fun purchase. Paying for a vacation? Fun purchase. Tires? Not a fun purchase, but an essential purchase. Literally, your car will not go without tires. It's bad. You ever try to drive a car without tires? Not a good idea. So you want the best tires on the road because it's going to keep you and your family safe. You want the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible? That's Shawbills. Not only will they sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, they treat you like family so you keep coming back for oil changes and tire rotations and everything you need for your vehicle. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.
It's not easy to be a champion.
It's built from every swing, pitch, and game all season long. In the grind, the focus,
and in the recovery.
FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake experts provide best-in-class care for our state's world-class athletes. Because it takes a champion to care for champions.
I trust the lake to keep me at my best.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.